Today on Sojourner Radio, we're going to be answering this question: can I be spiritual but not religious? This question is dedicated to all the people out there who are afraid of coming across as hyper-religious. And we're also going to be reading from the book of James, chapter 1, verses 19 through 27, which says this: "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of a man does not produce righteousness of God. Therefore put all away all rampantness and filthiness, wickedness that receives meekness with the implanted word, which is able to save our souls. So be doers of the word and not hearers of the word only, deceiving yourselves. For anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he's like a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself, goes away, and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. So if anyone thinks he's religious and does not bridle his own tongue, he deceives his heart. This person's religion is worthless. Religion that is pure and undefiled before the God the Father is this: to visit the orphans and the widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained from the world." Now, recently I was with somebody who was teaching some teenagers discussing the word hypocrites, especially hypocrites in the church. He said this: the word hypocrite comes from the ancient Greeks, who were performers and or actors who were known as hypocrites. These actors, because they wore two faces, they had their mask on that they were on stage, and then their faces as they were real people in everyday life. For too long, this word has been solely been associated with the people of political or religious affiliations, and for very valid reasons. While I contend that all of us as people are hypocritical and therefore hypocrites, it's the religious who are accused of their hypocrisy because of their moral uprightness in their words, but their lack of follow-through in their actions. So James is dealing with the same kind of issue almost 2,000 years ago. So while this is an age-old problem, it's a time where we should take personal responsibility for our own actions and not try to worry about the person whom we think that are bigger hypocrites than us. So James tells us a pretty simple principle for us to follow by: be not hearers of the word, but doers of the word, which goes back to a quote I used yesterday that said this: sometimes the church is far more educated than they are obedient. So if we could just simply follow the great commandment, we would do well to cut our hypocrisy in half. Simply love God and love our neighbors as we love ourselves. James, in this last part of the passage, tells us that religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit the orphans and the widows in their affliction, to keep oneself unstained from the world. Is he saying that all we have to do is love orphans and the widows? No, he is not. What he's telling us is that whom are the least among us, we are to love unashamedly and bring them into the fold of God's love through our physical demonstration of his Lord's love towards them. God is calling us to love those whom cannot love us back. Doesn't this make sense? Jesus demonstrated his love to us whom could in no way pay him back. He did not do it for the pat on the back from his dad. He did it because of his great love for you and me. Can we then try to do our part through loving someone who could not even come close to loving us back? So here's your challenge, sojourners. Let us love those who cannot deserve it, or who don't deserve it and cannot pay us back. I know that this is not something that we automatically think we should do, but it's something we need to do. Now, to our question, can I be spiritual without being religious? I would like to call a spade here. Most people that I hear say this statement are looking for religion on their own terms. They're wanting a God to fit their lifestyle at that time. If God is a God, he cannot mold or shape-shift into your image and you have a God in your pocket. Something like a rabbit's foot that really has no power except whenever you feel nervous and somehow it makes you feel better. So if you're one of these people who say this statement, then maybe you should ask yourself, do I want a fake God who is nothing more than a placebo, or do I want a relationship with the true God of the universe who made you, love you with an unbridled passion that burns for you? If you want this relationship, then please hit me up. I can help. So I want to thank you for listening or watching a Sojourner Radio, where we're trying to help people to live not just for this world, but for the world to come. Because remember, we were made for eternity and not just for the here and now. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast through YouTube channel or Facebook or even Instagram. You can even go to our website at sojourner.church to get to know a little bit about us more. So stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, where we're going to look at the question, why are church people so political? Should be a good one. See you guys tomorrow.